Welcome to day 217 of Living Like a Hoarder. Just kidding. Well, kinda. It's been about 7 months since I've slept in my room. This is why. This may look like laziness or lack of home training to some, but this is the result of anxiety paralysis. So who is Lil Ms Anxty P? Anxiety paralysis is when someone is so overwhelmed by their thoughts that they physically can't do anything. And for all the visual learners out there, welcome to my brain. You're welcome. Anxiety paralysis is most common with people who have ADHD, anxiety, perfectionism, or even just a fear of failure. And for me, this means chores like cleaning my room, folding my laundry often get neglected just so I'm able to prioritize other things like eating, working, showering consistently. Still working on that. I'm not dirty. I just don't. Anyways, if you too experience Miss Anxty P, I have some tips for you. Tip 1, organize your thoughts. With anxiety paralysis, you're most likely an overthinker to some capacity. So organize your thoughts. I'm not going to tell you stop those thoughts because it's physically impossible. Let's be honest. That means breaking up one big goal into multiple little goals. This makes everything seem less overwhelming because it's like instead of doing this big task that takes a week to do, I can do micro steps of it over the span of a week. You get it? Or something I personally like to do is to get all the thoughts out of my head and onto paper. I will say though, sometimes seeing everything in your brain on paper does make it a bit overwhelming. Like, oh, I don't have time for this. But that brings us to our second tip of changing your mindset. Like instead of telling yourself the goal is to finish this to-do list that has 20 items on it, each one taking 3 hours, when you only have 30 minutes of spare time, tell yourself that the goal is to start working on the to-do list, not to complete the to-do list. Or if you're worried about a performance or starting a new job, the goal is to experience and learn from it, not perfecting it the second you get hired or start doing it. Which brings us to number 3 of taking those baby steps. The specific baby steps kind of depend on what you're trying to accomplish, but let's say for physical goals like cleaning your room, set timers. You can start with 15 minutes, but honestly 15 minutes seems too long to me, so I like to do 8 minutes because it's a little more than 5 minutes, but not as long as 10 or 15 minutes. And if that's too much for you, at least try not to add to the load. If starting to clean up your room seems too much, when you take off your clothes, put it in the hamper instead of on the floor. That way you're not adding onto the pile that's already on the floor. And if you're at the brain rotting stage of your anxiety where you can't do anything, so you try to distract yourself by scrolling on TikTok, but then that makes you more anxious because you know you can dedicate that time to actually doing the item that you're trying to avoid, set a 5-minute timer to actually do the task, and then a 5-minute timer to go back on TikTok, and then a 5-minute timer again to do the task again. Basically just trying to do something rather than nothing. Step 4, make it positive. Well, all these tips do work. It's not a cure because your brain will still try to trick you into adding a negative, exhausting tone to the item. Like, I know I can clean my room, but the thought of cleaning my room still seems really daunting, even though it's not. Like, I can physically do it in 3 hours. Okay, maybe 8. So you want to make it positive. You can save a playlist or a song that's dedicated to those tasks that you have to do. You could dedicate a book you really want to read or a movie you really want to watch as a reward to actually completing the task. And for all my people with a praise kink out there, you can even make visual aids kind of as a good job. Like, I don't know, a gold star chart. Like every time you accomplish something, boom, a gold sticker. Don't make it weird. There's nothing wrong with praises. And as my last tip, be kind to yourself, which I know is kind of hard to do. So if you can't do it through a sympathetic, I just randomly developed a lisp. If not as an act of kindness, do it through a logical standpoint. For example, acknowledge that you're not being lazy, you're just overwhelmed. Your brain is physically so overwhelmed that it's not allowing you to do anything. Or as another example, think of a time where what you were worried about actually happened. And if it did happen, were your thoughts or the actual event worse? Oh, okay. But in all honesty, I hope this video helped out somebody, if not with the tips, just to feel like you're not alone. If you don't experience this, why are you still here? But if you do, I got you, girl. Well, I don't got you. I just relate to you. And I hope we can figure this out together because Lil Ms Anxty P has a strong grip. But she's not undefeatable. You honestly just have to figure out a way to rewire your brain. Easier said than done, I know, but yeah. Also, if you really don't experience anxiety, how does it feel to just not worry about things? Like, you can just call a restaurant and order food without practicing it in your head? How? Okay, bye.